I'm Sarah Janes from Soap School. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I thought I'd share with you how I make my almond and sesame soap. If you're like me, there are lots of different oils that you see in the supermarkets or that you have in your cupboards and you're not sure whether they're going to turn out or not turn out. Great way to make a small batch up and test and see whether that soap is what you expected it to be. Now you could absolutely switch some of these ingredients around for yours, but remember you will need to use a SAP calculator if you change the oils, because it will change the amount of lye that you need to turn it into soap. So this is my Sweet Almond Oil, and you can buy these in a lot of local stores as well as the bigger supermarkets and online of course. And this is just sesame oil that we've bought from our local supermarket, which is Asda. There's an awful lot of these types of oils which are just in smaller bottles, and they're great for testing out some of your home produced soaps and cosmetics. And then I've also got some Crisp and Dry. Crisp and Dry is just a solid cooking fat, and you'll have something similar to this wherever you are. So if you're in America, you'll probably use something like Crisco, but you could just use regular palm oil too. And I've also got a bag of ground almonds, and I love almonds for just a really soft texture to the soap, so I'm going to add them in too. So I'm just going to go ahead and weigh all of the ingredients out, and I'll put the recipe for you into the description underneath, so that if you want to join in and make this recipe yourself, you absolutely can. You know, I love sesame oil. It's got so many good properties. And a little bit later, I'll share some of the things that it's used for, not just in cosmetics, but in other things too. And I think you'll be quite surprised at how good and versatile it actually is. And it has such a beautiful nutty smell. And then I'm going to put the whole block of my solid cooking fat in there too. I'm just going to melt those oils quickly while I prepare the lye solution. I have to say this smells so yummy. It's beautiful. And actually, I'd like to see if the fragrance from that remains and alters the soap in any way. So I'm not actually going to put any fragrance or essential oil into this one. Tracing very quickly. I've used 75 grams in this particular recipe. Normally I only use sesame at very small levels, and I just wanted to use it at a higher amount in this recipe. I do hope that that smell stays even a little bit. If I can get that nuttiness to stay, I can use that as almost a different anchor to some of my other scents. It's just going to bring in a different note, especially if I'm using woods and spices. It might go really well. Now these molds are absolutely lovely. You can buy these on eBay and Amazon. They're not expensive, and they take about 500 grams of your soap mix. I think that's about £1 in American weights, and they're perfect for when you're testing a batch. I've got enough left for a couple of individual bars, which I'll pour in a minute. But I want to see how this comes out and how that translates. I'll wait a little while and probably just texture a little bit, because well, actually, it's nice and faint, but I really like that. So I might actually just do it now. And you can even build up multiple ones in a row. Could really do with being a little bit thicker than this though. I don't have the time because we've got dog groomers today. So it's going to have to be a very subtle design on the top of this one. Now I mentioned earlier that I tell you a little bit about the properties of sesame oil. And it's not just used in skincare, it's used in a lot of other things too. In fact, there are some unusual things that it's used for. So gingivitis or gum disease is quite a big problem for a lot of people, but it's been shown that using sesame oil as a tooth pulling oil, just rinsing it around the mouth regularly, reduces the bacteria that cause gingivitis by as much as 85%. So that's massive. But another really fun thing that it's used for is reducing itchiness of your hemorrhoids or piles. So if you have itchy hemorrhoids, maybe you want to give it a go. But please don't share too much information in the comments about that one. But sesame oil is also really known for its antioxidant properties. It's got lots of vitamin E, it's got lots of vitamin K, it's got antibacterial properties, and it's just a really good oil for promoting natural skin health. So let's see how this works out, and I'll come back and cut it tomorrow, test the lather out and share with you exactly what this is like. Now our soap is now set up, it's nice and firm, and I'm going to cut this. Now remember I said I was really hoping that the scent from this beautiful sesame oil would come through in the soap? Well, it actually did. I wish I'd have had a bit more time to play around with my texturing on the top of this one, but sadly time was very precious that day. But I still really like the texture. Each one's got a lovely kind of feathering on the top of it. Clean up those edges a little bit while it's still soft. I always love using things like ground almonds or ground nuts because you get this beautiful light speckling and a very, very light exfoliation. But it's not really scrubby, it's just gentle. It's more like polishing the skin. I like to use oatmeal as well. I find that finely ground oatmeal gives the same kind of feel. So I definitely like the look and the feel of this one. It's nice and firm. And now I'm going to test the lather too. So I've been playing and just giving a quick wash with this. I have to say this has got such a beautiful creamy lather. It's very, very creamy. It's not got large open bubbles. And when I first started washing with it, I thought the lather was maybe a little bit weak, but actually as soon as I started to rub my hands together, that lather developed into this really lovely, rich cream, and it does feel really cushioned and bouncy. So nice one. I'm really happy with that, and I'll definitely be using the sesame again to maybe anchor and give an earthy, nutty note to some of my other essential oil blends. If you've enjoyed today's video, why not give me a thumbs up and consider following us? We try and add a new video to share with you every week, and we'd love to see you again with us soon. Thanks so much for joining us today.